So crypto e-gaming is one of the hottest topics, of course, in the industry at the moment. Everyone wants to do crypto. A lot of people are doing it already. My focus is, like Julia just said, my focus currently is on regulated crypto gambling. That means regulated in the sense of what I call properly regulated. So we bring it mainstream, tier 1 license, make it respectable, make it sort of a high street product. Think of it in the same way that you would think of any fiat high street bookmaker kind of thing. That's the level I'm talking about in regulation. So basically, yeah, I've done this for a little while, started as a trader, yada yada, you can see all that there. I'm currently based in the Isle of Man, and that's where I'm currently working on running the second crypto license or licensed crypto book that I have there. So it's not my first project. It's a very fast growing area. So if you want to know how to do it right, let's have a quick look. So why crypto in general for us as an industry? Well, there's a ton of very, very good reasons. For starters, crypto and Bitcoin, now Bitcoin being BTC, has been tied to gambling for almost as long as Bitcoin has existed. One of the first uses for Bitcoin, maybe predictably, was gambling. Satoshi Dice, the site's been around for ages. I don't think it exists anymore, but it was certainly around for a long time. So gambling has always been there. Dice games have been absolutely huge. So that's always been part of it. But why should you care about it as an operator? Well, there's a few very compelling reasons. For starters, crypto in its own, and with crypto, again, I mean BTC and the main currencies, is a godsend where payments are concerned, because governments, evil governments who don't like us, can no longer block our payments. There's no snooping anymore. If a player in a country sends you BTC to your wallet, there's no way the government in that country, or very difficult for the government in that country to know about it. You don't have to pay pesky PSPs anymore. There are no more percentages, no more American boardrooms saying we don't want your country anymore and cutting you off from today till tomorrow. You control it. The money is with you. The money is not in the bank. You have a vast new player pool of people who are tech savvy, who have disposable income, who are young, who are looking for uses for their crypto. It sits there. What can I use it for? Hey, I can make more. We know from experience, from the 3, 4, 5 years that I've done this now, crypto players have higher LTVs, higher margins by quite a bit. There are also some, so I'm going to rush through this in 10 minutes because I don't want to let Harmen wait too long. But you can always catch me after and talk more. I could fill a week with this, okay? So I'll try and squeeze it in 10 minutes. So what we've seen in crypto, just to give you a quick example of how crypto players are different to fiat players, why you should really care about them. We've seen with crypto players, when they deposit and play, when the price of Bitcoin, for example, goes up while they play, while they're in the session and depositing, then they don't really mind losing so much, because in fiat terms, when they convert it in their head, they haven't actually lost anything. The value when they're converted in their heads is still the same. It's like, I haven't lost anything, I can have another bet, yay. But equally, when they lose, when the price of Bitcoin goes down, then they try and win back. So it's like, oh my God, the price of Bitcoin is going down. Well, I better place a bet to win it back up. So I have the same, in fiat in my head. So they are very different. They still see it to a degree as more of a casino coin kind of thing, a poker chip rather than a currency. That's mainly due to the way it's displayed. 0.001 sounds a lot less than $50. So we still see a little of that, although that's disappearing. And of course, crypto itself is here to stay. It is becoming mainstream. It's in thousands of news articles every day. Sadly, very often in a negative way for various reasons, but also in more increasing positive ways, institutional investors and so on. So Bitcoin and crypto is here to stay. It's only going to become a bigger part of all our lives, digital money in general. So when you open your book, what coins should you actually accept? Because that's probably the big question, right? You want to run home and you want to accept crypto on your site, but what coins? Because there's literally thousands. Now, in my mind, the main coin that really matters is BTC. It's not perfect by any means, but BTC is Bitcoin. It's the big one. It's the one that all the institutions are invested in. It is, the one that matters. But you should accept the ones that matter for your players and for your regions. USDT, for example, Tether, very important in Asia. Obviously, there's different versions, ERC20 and the Tron one, and your fees can be a bit of a problem, but Tether definitely. There are other stablecoins coming up now that you should probably look at. So really, it depends on where your players are, and generally you can accept any coin you want, but you need to make sure that before you accept a coin, don't just look at liquidity and kind of exchange it. Also look at who's behind it. Look at, is it stable enough? It's no good having 1 million coins of something in your wallet if the next day there's a rug pull and they run away with the money. So be very, very careful there. Do your risk assessment. Do create your own coins only when it makes sense. And what makes sense, I mean, for example, go on a website called bc.game, which is a black market, gray market operator. I wouldn't recommend doing what they do, but they have a very nice use of their own coin as a loyalty token. You earn BC dollars, I think it's called. You can exchange them to Tether, and you can cash it out. That's how you can use your own token. Don't create your own token just to have a token. Also, keep things simple. Only that you accept crypto doesn't mean you have to embrace complicated blockchain-y things. I'm actually not a blockchain fan, which is a bit weird being in crypto. Keep it simple. Okay, you accept crypto with your own payment method, with your own interface. If you don't have your own, there are good ones. I can point you to some. So it's secure. Security is key. And just let players play in crypto, withdraw in crypto, happy days. No need for complicated blockchain reporting, blah, blah, yada, yada. It's just 99% of all blockchain need tech projects, and Harmen's going to hate me for this. I don't see a use for them. I'm sure there are uses, but for me as a simple operator, no. And making your coin is really, really easy. So what you see here on the screen is a real coin. It's called AGB coin. I created that in 20 minutes for an article that I wrote for AGB a while ago. I dug it back out. You can go on Etherscan and you can find it. Took me 20 minutes to do. Is there a use for this coin? No. So every coin that you create or that you accept, make sure it makes commercial sense to have it. Don't just have it because it's the flavor of the day or something, okay? Why should you go regulated when it comes to crypto? It being the Wild West, right? I mean, we're like, nobody cares about regulation in crypto. Well, you should. Crypto at the moment has a bit of a bad rap. You read about rug pulls every day. You read about CEOs running away and exchanges and so what we need to become really, truly mainstream is the trust of the players. They have to be able to trust us in the same way that they trust fiat main operators that they've known for years, that have been around for years. That is the level we have to reach. We cannot do that being unlicensed, being lesser licensed, being unregulated, being Wild West. It just simply will not work. So we have to really work very, very hard to differentiate ourselves from all the scammers, from all the bad guys out there. And that means you have to have a good foundation, a regulatory foundation. And I know there are people who say, oh, players don't care where you're licensed. Trust me, they're starting to care because they don't want to lose their money. There are too many horror stories. And if you want a sustainable and credible business, that goes together. So, look at that. And regulation is the future. If you want it or not, you might get away with not doing it right now. You will not in future. It's coming more and more and more in fiat and in crypto. But then you will say, hey, Frank, but strict regulations, that's so much hassle and costs. I can't be asked for that. Just give me a Mickey Mouse license and, here's 30 grand in a paperback and everyone's happy. Honestly, if done right, the extra effort to have a proper license isn't that much. But it does come with so many benefits. And from banking to suppliers to sponsorships to all the other things you will never ever be able to do if you're not licensed or if you're lesser licensed. With lesser, I mean the Montenegros, the Curaçaos, that kind of thing. This shadowy world, this sort of it will do license, let's call it that, it will do license, that's disappearing very fast. Curaçao, for example, will now ask you for more paperwork anyway. And we see in the Isle of Man, where I'm based, we see a huge influx coming from Curaçao because they are thinking, well, if I have to do paperwork anyway, I might as well go to a more respected jurisdiction. So they'll come to us. Great. So going straight to the, what license should you really get? Well, a tier 1. So that could be, obviously in my case, I'm based in the Isle of Man, so I'm not paid by the Isle of Man to sell the Isle of Man, but I know it's a good place for crypto because they're very flexible. Other jurisdictions are available. Pick yours. What I like with the Isle of Man is you can do everything there in one shop. The Isle of Man is a real sort of innovation tech hub right now. If you want to do gambling, you just get an OGRA license, fiat, crypto, all the same. There's a separate little framework for crypto. So there's certain things that you need to do slightly differently, but it's the same license overall. No big paperwork. You can have a license. If you're good, got your ducks in a row in 6 months. That's how fast it can go. So it's not complicated. The other thing is, if you want to delve into other things next to gambling, NFTs, exchanges, the lot, you can do it there as well with a thing called the DBA, Designated Business Act, super light touch regulation. You register your AML and off you go. You can do pretty much what you want. We have exchanges running under this. We have these guys, Coin Corner, they brought out the Bolt card. This is a lightning payment card. It works the same as a contactless card. You can go around, you can pay with Bitcoin without ever knowing how Bitcoin actually works. That's the kind of thing you can do with light touch regulation. And that's the kind of innovation that we have. It's easier than you think to do it right. And I really, really urge you, if you're going into crypto, to do it right from the word go. Have a proper regulation and license. The easiest way to do it for you is if you choose the Isle of Man, go there, pick a CSP. We worked with one called Affinity. Other CSPs are available. But I know that they have some crypto experience, so you don't have to explain stuff. You do what's called a 2006 Act company, which means you don't even have to be there if you don't want to be there. If you don't want to live in the Isle of Man, totally cool. You let the CSP run it. You are the DO, the designated official, so I'm the designated official for our company, but you don't have to be on the island. Everything can be done from wherever you are, and a lot of the Asian gaming companies who come to us, that's exactly what they do. Also, and this is the next thing I'm going to show you, the video, shows you the knowledge that you need for your staff and for your operation is very easy to gain these days. There's a lot of knowledge you need, of course, to be compliant and so on, but it's easy to receive that knowledge. And let me show you something.
The e-gaming world is becoming more and more regulated. As a result, the requirements to ensure staff within an organization are well trained and aware of all the rules they must follow are steadily increasing. Not only can this present a headache for even the most efficient operations, but throw in the fact that the industry is, by its very nature, a global one, and you can see how having to manage multiple topics, in multiple languages, can quickly turn into a challenging task for even the best training manager. Luckily, my colleagues and I have the perfect solution for all your training needs.
弊社のチームは使いやすいモジュールとビデオなどの視覚的要素を組み合わせた詳細なトレーニングコースを開発し、お客様が必要とするあらゆる言語で提供しています。
Por lo tanto, independientemente del origen de sus jugadores o sus empleados, o de la normativa que se deba cumplir, nos aseguraremos de que tanto usted como su equipo cuenten con los conocimientos necesarios para cumplirla en su totalidad.
不再要无聊的幻灯片和文本转语音的呆板机械配音。我们以定制、引人入胜的方式提供内容，使您的员工想要学习，并为您提供追踪他们的进度所需的所有工具，并向您的合规部门和任何监管机构证明他们的情况。我们还涵盖所有主题，包括从直接赌博到加密货币等新领域。
The e-gaming world is...
Notice something with those guys? Digital actors, they weren't real. This is the kind of training material that you can use in your multinational company with multiple languages. These videos take minutes to make. You have the script, you fire it into the machine, the video comes back, you train your staff with it. No more excuses not to do it properly, however strict your regulatory framework. So that's really how easy this is. So finishing this, because I'm getting a 2-minute board, let's race. The biggest don'ts when you go into crypto as a regulated company, don't treat it as fiat, because it's very different. Crypto players and fiat players are very, very different. Treat them properly. Look into the differences. If you're not sure, get someone who knows the differences. Hire someone from a crypto firm. Don't take any shortcuts by having a lesser license. They will disappear. We had people who phoned us up and was like, oh, I want to do an NFT. Yeah, okay, we need AML, KYC. Oh, no, I go to Dubai. They don't ask for that. They don't ask for that yet. Don't waste your money. Do it properly from the start. It's coming anyway. Don't leave it exposed to bad funds by not using blockchain analysis tools. What I mean by that is get something like Chainalysis. Everyone, even the blackest of black books, use something like Chainalysis. Players hate it, I'll be honest, because it's against privacy, but you need it. Because you need to make sure, A, your regulator's happy, they love Chainalysis, because you can see where the money comes from and where it goes, but it makes sure you don't touch any money you really don't want to touch. So it's very crucial. And don't get bamboozled or rushed because of the fear of missing out. Do it properly, don't rush into things, don't jump on the next big thing, do your research. The biggest do is focus on security. And all around, we had the security discussion with Harmen before, it was super interesting, and more people should pay attention. Crypto, you will get attacked. Get your security right and get your security as a mindset through your whole organization, not just the IT guys. Security is everyone's job. Keep things simple. Bitcoin, not blockchain, is one of my favorite phrases. It's actually from Danny, the CEO from Coin Corner. What I mean by that is keep it simple. And spend time to understand your players. Crypto is about community. It's not about you trying to pretend you're part of it. It's a bit like esports. Spend time to understand. And offer what is desired. Multi-currency accounts, fiat on-ramps, fast payments, community features, that kind of thing. Do your homework. And finally, I'm going to try and set up something like an organization that helps people who want to do things properly. So hit me up on LinkedIn. And if you're up for doing it properly and well-regulated and be part of the mainstream crypto gambling future, there I am, and that's the presentation. I hope that didn't take too long. I was rushing.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, no, that's good. You say, you keep it simple, and then you say, talk Bitcoin and not blockchain. I'm completely on the opposite side, you know that.
Yes.
I'm absolutely not a Bitcoin fan at all, and one of the reasons is, that I absolutely don't like the fact that I have no idea who owns what. And we know that there are wills there, we know that it's a trading game, and we know that, excuse my language, we're being effed. So, why on earth would I want to go in that direction?
There's a simple reason. Bitcoin is the only proper decentralized freedom money, if you want. Yes, we don't know who owns all of it, and that's the beauty of the system. It's self-balancing. We know a lot of whales. The bigger problem is with shitcoins where it's totally centralized, and you still don't know who owns it or who does a rug pull.
No, totally
and
agree.
A single person can do it and run away. And Bitcoin, what makes me believe in Bitcoin at this moment, I know we've been in a bear market and it's been a shit show. DeFi has imploded everywhere. Look at the price of Bitcoin in the last few weeks and months when Celsius exploded, all these other shitcoin projects exploded. Bitcoin has still been steady around the 20 grand mark.
Ethereum did better.
Yeah, but look at Bitcoin, it's still been around the 20 grand mark.
Yeah, no, I know.
Billions liquidated.
Are we talking that Bitcoin is going to be a
care.
standard? Is it going to be the standard? Because really that's the way it's going, right? There's nothing else. It's just a standard. You can't do anything with it other than, being it a, trading mechanism.
It is a speculation and a trading tool, yeah. But it is, like these guys, for example, it's a Lightning, you can pay with it, so they're trying to find users for it. It's not perfect. I'm not saying Bitcoin is perfect, but...
No, and I don't believe necessarily in the other coins either, because there are so many of them, etc. Yes. However, what I think is interesting, like with Ethereum, etc., with the smart contracts, with, let's say, the applications that they can develop, as there are many other chains now that are coming out. For example, LTO Network is one that's quite interesting, that's looking at the gaming industry, but, what, as the public in generally, are we going to, have faith in? Because, for me, it still feels like, I really don't understand where I need to focus or zero in on because I need so much information.
That's why I don't understand the secondary coins that you have, where something like Casino Coin or the other coins that give some utility that make my player jump through another hoop. That's why I don't like all these other coins. I just want them to come, whatever coin they have that I'm comfortable taking, BTC, Ethereum, stable coins are very good. If you don't like Bitcoin, use stable coins. You come in, you play, you put your stable coin, your coin in my casino, you play with it, you win, I pay you out, and we're all happy. As simple as that. That's
right.
what I want.
So if you look at the SEC right now in the United States, everybody's looking at the US, right? We already know that China took their action, India took their action, many other countries are looking at, making it, impossible or somewhat possible or under heavy regulations, etc. The SEC is going to be the final ruler, right? Because they're waiting, right? They're going to come out with something. Isn't that the reason why we have also the crypto winter, as we call it nowadays?
I think it's affected by it, but Bitcoin, China tried to ban it, everyone tried to ban it, and Bitcoin just didn't care. So it will be a problem if you're a regulated operator, because you, of course, have to comply with then certain rules, but it's also a blessing, because whatever rules come out, if you're already compliant, say, think forward in the future. If I'm already a compliant operator, America is opening up now to gambling. If I already have a compliant background in crypto gambling, I can go there and say, hey guys, I would like to open a crypto casino with your regulations. here's me, whiter than white,
Okay.
and I can help you how to do it.
But that's going to be 5 to 10 years out, don't you think?
Yeah, but now is the time to
Lay the foundation.
lay the foundation
Okay,
for that.
you know.
Yeah. And you can only do that with proper regulations.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, I'm all for regulations. I believe that the crypto, as a mechanism, let's say, as a digital token like China is to do with the digital yuan now, which, by the way, is not much of a success at this stage.
I've seen, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because it's kind of funny, right? I mean, you have Alibaba that basically comes out with their payment methodology, then you have WeChat, then you have, many others, etc., and they're far more successful than the digital yuan.
But I think what we will see generally, because the powers that control money, they're obviously shit scared of Bitcoin because they can't control it. So they bring out CBDCs. And this is another thing where if you get into the game now as an operator, as a gaming firm, if in future someone like Germany has the Eurocoin or China has their CBDC, if you can go there and say, hey, we've got the tech, we're regulated. If you would like to run your lottery or your monopoly sports betting operation on your CBDC, we have the whiter than white, fully regulated. We have experience. We can do this for you.
Fair enough. So basically what you're saying is, okay, the future is going to look like with these tokens that effectively we cut out so many middlemen that half the industry can go home.
Yeah. Basically, you kill the PSPs, you kill a lot of stuff, and you can work directly. If I used to work for Intralot in Greece. They'd only do government contracts. If you're the next Intralot, the digital Intralot, the crypto Intralot, if you want to call it, there's the margins in government contracts.
Yeah.
You know the margins. I mean, they're...
No, I mean, I'm completely in favor of, let's say, cutting costs wherever we can and cutting out the middlemen wherever we can, etc. I think the one thing that we have to be careful of is that, as I said, even with the dollar, we don't know who owns all the dollars. We at least know that, for example, with the dollar, the United States government owns in principle the dollar, but of course the banks behind it, who owns which, part of it, etc., is also, a bit unclear.
Then when you mention the dollar, you haven't even mentioned inflation.
Right. No, exactly. But I expected that the Bitcoin value would go up dramatically up with all of this inflation going on, but it hasn't.
Because the rest of the market has liquidated so much. There were definitely forces playing against each other.
Yeah,
I was hoping it would go up further. It will go up. I am confident. To how much, I don't know, but it will go up.
So really a solution would be if, all the major economies in the world would come together and basically say, we buy 50% of all the Bitcoins.
Well, more and more countries are adopting Bitcoin in one way or another, not just El Salvador, but countries where there is high inflation, where there are economic problems.
Right.
And it shows that it is a valid, even though central banks don't like it, it's a valid monetary tool. And it's the biggest change in monetary utility since money was invented.
So why don't
people don't realize how fundamental Bitcoin is?
Yeah, no, clear. Why don't we see more of, let's say, the tokens and let's say, you go on Etherscan, theoretically all the information is available. Why don't we really see who owns what within the Bitcoins? Because that would be kind of nice that at least who can, let's say, who are the bad traders, let's say, as such? Because at least you have that with, all of the more regulated trading instruments around the world, right? I mean, we at least know who's trading, being it from Infidelity to, whichever company, whichever bank that's behind it.
We do actually know who owns a lot of the Bitcoins. You can use things like Chainalysis to have a very educated guess, and we know who some of the big whales are. And so it's not fully unknown. It is less unknown, but it is more known, I would argue, than the US dollar, for example, because this is the other thing with crypto. If I get, say, 10 Bitcoin as a deposit, with Chainalysis, I see where that Bitcoin came from, not just the person. I can go 10, 20 hops back where that money goes.
Absolutely.
And I can see where the money goes.
Right.
So,
so theoretically, there shouldn't be any possibility for all of this fraud, and there still is. So what's the end? Why? Because
the fraud, well, this is where our regulation comes in. So if you play with us, letterbit.io, if you look on the government website, my domain's there anyway, we require full KYC, like everyone like every regulated book in the Element does. At some point, as a player, I will ask you for KYC. That puts off 90% of the scammers.
Right.
It also puts off a lot of crypto players, but they said, oh, you can't do KYC in fiat gaming, and look at it now, it works. So it's about making the journey smooth and getting the KYC in a gentle way. But because we are so strictly regulated and we ask for KYC and we have all these checks, it puts a lot of the scammers off.
If you looked at, for example, what the SEC chair said, he basically said, Gensler, that, I don't see a viability or a need for, let's say, the crypto, because he basically believes that, we bring out a digital dollar, digital yuan, digital euro, whatever else, and then as a result, we have enough.
Of course he would say that. I mean, they can't control Bitcoin, so they don't want people to use it. The idea, you can tell if it's Ursula von der Leyen or the SEC guy or any of them, you can hear the fear in their voice when they speak about Bitcoin because they can't control it. And that's never happened. That there's a global currency that they cannot control with their systems. And they hate it. And I love it that they hate it because we're going to win.
Right. Now, with regards to the adoption, a lot of people, funny enough, there was a big study done among 16,000 people, and the main reason for why people don't adopt it are basically there are three reasons. One of the reasons was that they don't really understand it well enough, so in other words, why would I take it? Number two was they're really afraid that they're going to lose the money because of cybersecurity, because of a hack, or because of whatever else. And then number three was, of course, the volatility. How do we deal with these issues?
Security, yes, you do really have to do your homework because you have the money in your pocket. And that is very different in crypto than it is in fiat. If you lose your banking app on your phone, your bank gives you a new card and everything's good. If you lose your hard wallet or your recovery phrase, you're screwed. That is the education to a large degree.
Is that education, or should banks get involved in the game and provide that service?
Well, there are already custodial services. Personally, the number one advice I would give to anyone who has Bitcoin, get it off the exchanges, because we have seen the stories, where certain exchanges or certain of these DeFi people have it in their terms that while your crypto is with them, it's basically theirs.
Right.
And if your money is on an exchange, it's not your money, it's not your Bitcoin. It's as simple as that.
Right.
Get your money off the exchanges is the number one thing. If you have any money on any exchange, get it off. And learn how to look after it yourself.
Right. Now, we heard earlier today and yesterday in several of the seminars and sessions, etc., that the USDT obviously being, such a stable coin, and Tether, then we start looking into it, and then I'm like, the number of Tethers that are out there versus, the hard cash against it, I don't think that's one-to-one. Now, I understand that within the dollar system, the banks don't have one-to-one either in their banks, etc., but it scares the shit out of me. So, and I think that's with a lot of people the case. So how do we not going to have another lunar, type situation, etc., that's really going to blow up the system?
I know there are doubts about Tether, and I'm not 100% convinced with them yet. I do think they have had enough scrutiny and spotlights shown on them that if they were another Luna or something like that, they would have blown up by now. Then certainly not backed one-to-one by dollar, we know that, but they are backed by something. There are other stablecoins coming. There's an Isle of Man launched Sterling stablecoin now, which I'm not 100% sure how it is backed, if it's just Sterling in a safe or something. Stablecoins, if they're done right, certainly Tether is so big now. They said, if all these DeFi's go down, Tether goes down and Bitcoin goes down. Well, the DeFi's went down, Tether is still around, Bitcoin's still around. So the fundamentals of these two, at least Tether and Bitcoin, must be solid enough. They're not perfect, but they're probably solid enough to withstand that.
I mean, really, if you know some of the guys that are behind it, you're like, really?
Do I trust the people behind Tether? No.
No, exactly. I mean, it's crazy because
I don't trust the people behind
the way they start wasting the money
and
the way they entertain themselves. It's like, okay, feels like gaming 30 years ago. What we used to do. When we go back to the gaming side and we basically start talking about how important this is for gaming, and to that extent I agree, especially when we go cross borders or all the different opportunities that are there. In what way can we, basically bring ourselves together? Because right now we have many different wallets, many different suppliers, many different, people that are involved in the business, many different exchanges, etc. How can we, as a gaming industry, come together and basically look at this as something that, number one, can be regulated, number two, that is somewhat, let's say, under guardianship or whatever you want to call it, but in a way that it helps the industry and that as a result it promotes, and generally, let's say the trust within, the transactions within gaming. Because in all honesty, we're all going to be gambling. Many of the, population of this earth, wants to, be a gambler, etc. I mean, we have 8 billion people on earth. Just start doing the numbers, etc. 8 billion. We know that at least 10% is hardcore gaming. 10% of 8 billion people. We start looking at some really tough numbers, etc. We could use all of this, right? Because now it's a bit of a mess out there with all the different payment systems, etc. So how can we do something better?
Well, I'm trying to do that with it's going to be called Regulated Digital Currency Gaming Association, I think we're going to call it. And it's meant to, even though we're competitors, it's always been my belief since I started in crypto 5-6 years ago, that we, to a level, we all have to work together to set the sort of the base rules and the guidelines and the sort of procedures that we say, okay, this is the best practices. And we should all stick to have a sustainable, trustworthy product. Because if people don't trust us, if these screw-ups happen, if operators keep running away with money, none of us will be successful.
Yeah, exactly. So we should set up a steering committee. The steering committee comes out with the first regulation, then goes around the industry, etc. Then take all of the criticism and all of the other, opinions, and then maybe we get somewhere in what?
Yeah, but you write a few guidelines, white papers, have have a consensus, because people looking for information, especially operators who want to get into crypto, they don't know where to start.
Right.
So they pick up bits from here and there and there.
Right.
It would be nice if they have one document where we say, fine, even if you're a competitor, but these are the top things, so we protect, all of us protect the players, because otherwise none of us will have a business.
Yeah. No, this sounds really interesting. Yeah, question please. Go ahead, Tony.
We get questions, that's nice.
You can shout.
I'm not as loud as you.
I have a microphone. Now you too.
So do I now. So I can safely say I bought Bitcoin pretty early, at 2014, and I lost my first couple of Bitcoins on online gaming, too. But I found the experience really boring because they were using the old crypto slots and baccarat and poker. So I haven't touched online gaming for crypto for a long time. Can you tell me, is there anything exciting games I should play?
Oh, it's very different now.
Oh yeah, all to be honest, the site we run, it's all the games that you know from fiat books, all the big providers, they're there and they're getting in on the game if they're not on there yet. It's a very different world from 2014, I can tell you that much. Those crypto games are still there, the perfectly fair stuff, and I'm looking at sort of bringing that into the regulated space. But Jesus, it's a very different world.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, basically what it is, it's the same games as we have, but just, it's a different currency, and, as you said, you use it as chips versus, as cash. So you basically look at it that way. Yeah. Dov.
Hello, guys. Thank you. I have 3 questions. I'm going to try to make it right. The first one, would you say that, because you say, yeah, we cannot know who is it and so on, do you think is an illusion that the people think is an own wallet? Because everything is scripted. I mean, everything is tracked with a number. You can go and find where the money has been and take out. Because at the end, the person has to cash out, and the day when he cash out is not like 15 or 10 years ago where you go in a street with someone and you exchange the cash. Now you go to a company and you withdraw. That is the one. Is it an illusion? Because it's a blockchain. Number
yes,
2.
There's no privacy. I'll answer it quickly.
Yeah.
So, because otherwise I forget when you have to.
Okay.
Yes, BTC or any crypto is not anonymous. That's a complete myth. There are steps you can take to keep your privacy, but no, it's not anonymous. We know that. There are still ways that players can protect their privacy, but I'm under no illusion that nobody ever claimed it was anonymous.
But in all honesty, Dov, that's already happening. For example, I was in the Netherlands, 2 weeks ago, etc. I mean, almost nowhere could I pay cash. It was a ridiculous situation. It was in the Netherlands. I was like, I have cash. And then they said, no, we only take card.
Come to Bali, I pay everything in cash over there. Second question, how long it will take for the regulation to go and arrive in every country? And that will happen. Now, if you have a casino, the main goal is you make money, yeah? They're going to put a tax on your gross profit income, because if the volatility of the Bitcoin goes up, then the day when you make $1 million, you're going to have maybe a tax of 25, 50%, and you're going to have to show. Now, the wallet you have cannot be connected to your personal. It's going to be connected to a company. Now, where is the best place in the world to have a company where you can own, trade crypto, and pay a low gross income, or how do you say that in English, when you make a profit on your volatility?
I'm obviously hopelessly biased towards the Isle of Man, because we have 0% corporation tax, we have very low income tax, 0 capital gains tax, and very friendly business environment for crypto, for anything crypto. So that's where I would go, because my taxes are low. But there are other jurisdictions available.
But they will maybe change in the future or not?
Yeah. Will they have an exchange?
I mean,
if you want to have
you say everything going to be regulated, so one day they're going to put a tax on your
there's no
game.
There's a gaming tax for operators, which is between 0.3 and 1.5%. But there's no exchange tax or crypto tax on out of man.
No, the smaller islands and smaller places in the world won't, right? I mean, that's El Salvador's advantages.
I know the finance minister well. He hasn't told me yet that there will be one. So.
We can talk about this for a very long time. Frank, thank you very much. Obviously, we're available for any further conversations, but appreciate listening to us and enjoy the rest of the stay. Thanks.